All right. So I call the regular board meeting of June 24th, 2026 to order. So can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Thank you. So we have Barbara Curtis, Richard Nichols, Bob Heffernan here. Press has been excused. He's at other business. We have the city mayor will be joining us late. Robin Davis, our general manager, Sharon Sexton, our assistant general manager, and Michael Hoffman, the solicitor. So first item up is the consent agenda. Anyone want anything pulled or?
No, I don't want anything pulled, but a question for IT.
I think you just stepped out.
Oh. I noticed the contact details have addresses now, and I wondered whether that was automatic or manually. Oh, sorry about that.
No, that's no problem. That's your answer.
Well, thank you, though.
All right, so motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So, call to the public. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any BPW related matter, whether on tonight's agenda or not, should make their request known at this time. Please note there will be no opportunity for additional public comment on matters listed in the agenda till the end of the meeting. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes. No action or board decision, including answering questions, will occur during public comments. However, the board president may ask the staff to review the matter, or individual members of the board may ask for that matter to be put on future agendas. And with that, we're off to the Inframark report.
Good afternoon, Matthew Davis, project manager of the Lewes wastewater plant for Inframark. All right. So we had some stuff over the last month. So pump station 6 has been drawn up, and we are looking at finalizing work with Sprig. We haven't set anything in motion yet, though. As far as train 4, the gate replacement, I'm still waiting on parts to come in for that.
Do you have an estimate for when they're going to be in?
They haven't given me an estimate yet, no, Tom. I'm hoping it'll be within the next few weeks.
So you still gonna have to swap trains then to clean?
We are not. I'm going to get
No?
into that in a few minutes.
Okay.
So we had a meeting with Kramer about the ditches, bringing the new valves for the ditches. He's looking at getting parts, and we're going to be scheduling the work. Currently the work isn't, we don't have a schedule for the work yet, but that should happen within the next 2 weeks. So as soon as he gives me a final estimate of everything he needs, then he's going to give me a time frame of when he can come out. The water reuse project, that was put on hold until you guys give me an answer as to whether or not you guys can move forward with the water reuse or not, depending on the financial aspect of it.
Yep. So
We got a quote. Yep. Sorry.
Go ahead.
We got a quote. But we had Kim do some analysis of what the water usage was for the past year. It didn't seem to be really high going up, but in the last month, that was from April to May, it dropped considerably, even lower than what it was a year ago. With-
650,000
Yeah.
gallons.
Oh,
So we got the quote from Matt to do the reuse. So we decided to go ahead and just hold off to see what our usage, if it continues to drop. It might not be cost effective to redo the reused system. So we want to just get a little bit more information.
There was a problem in the headworks that was causing excess of water?
It was two broken nozzle sprayers. The one not the two for the 2 mil and the 5 mil. We did not fix the 5 mil because of the compactor issue originally. Once we got the compactor fixed, we fixed the 5 mil, and then we realized that the 2 mil also had an issue. The way the 2 mil is designed, everything's enclosed, so you can't really see. So we didn't realize quite how much that was spraying as well until we really dug into it. So, but both of those are fixed and replaced now.
Does that coincide with the downturn in the water usage?
Yes.
yes.
So we think it was the nozzles?
Could be considerably, yes.
Cost benefit.
Yeah, that's what we
Yeah.
were just gonna try to see what it is, our future usage down there, water.
Okay.
Okay, makes sense.
All right. So, in answer to your question earlier, Tom, so we went to swap the membranes from 3 to 4 to do the cleaning. During this process, we found some of the membranes damaged. I've sent pictures to Sharon. We've been over everything, and Robin. I've talked to the techs at Veolia. I've talked to our membrane specialist. Basically, what it looks like is we've had something come through the system. Not sure what. It could potentially be some kind of gritty material. We're not sure. It could have been wasted out. We're not sure if it's still in the system. However, our numbers are good. We're still well under permit. Actually, our numbers are better, or at least on par, as far as anything we've had. So our treatment's still good. However, the damage that we found was some of the membranes have the coating stripped off of the bottom 2 inches and the top 2 inches, and pretty much all the cassettes have some damage. What we found was the front cassettes have the most damage, the back cassettes have the least amount of damage, but they all have some damage.
Oh, because I thought you told there was like 12 strands.
It's it changes from cassette to set. It changes from cassette to cassette. Some have 10 strands maybe, some have more, but it's not very much more. Like, I haven't pulled out anything to really dive into it, but we pulled all 3 cassettes from trains 4 and 3 and sprayed them down and inspected them. So again, I didn't pull out the modules to look inside, but from what I can tell, most of the damage is on the outside of the modules, and it's just the outside. I haven't seen anything inside that I'm aware of.
And it's all the leading edge.
Yes, and it's like I said, it seems to be where the membranes connect to like the plastic of it. So where they go in and connect, it's only the bottom couple inches and only the top couple inches. I have yet to find any damage through the middle section, which leads me to believe it's more of a fibrous material, whatever damaged them.
You're talking Veolia, but it doesn't look like it's like delamination.
Yeah, so
What do they say?
they honestly aren't sure. They say it looks like something hit it and like kind of peeled it away, but they're not 100%. So back when we used to pick the membranes aren't really designed to be brought out and picked like that and be left out for an extended period of time. And we think what happened was just over time the membranes have gotten brittle. So whatever came through the system hit the membranes and scoured portions of the coating off. Now again, our treatment is good. The only reason we even realize this is there is a slight tinge to the water coming out of the membranes, like where it's just not quite as clear as it used to be. But our turbidity is still good. We're still non-detect on most of our samples.
And it's only that one train.
No, it's all 4 trains.
Oh, all four.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, it's
Is it 1 and 2 as well as 3?
It's all 4 trains.
So
So we haven't inspected 2 and 1 and 2 yet. We've inspected 3 and 4. However, with the coming out of the trains, like I said, there's a slight discoloration of the water, which leads me to believe it's all the trains. And all the damage I found was like universal on all the cassettes. So I don't know why it wouldn't be all the trains. After going over everything with Matthew Stapleford, who's our membrane specialist, we kind of determined that it can hold off a little bit until after the summer months, because it's going to be just like we used to pick the membranes. It's going to take approximately 4 months to do a full repair. So what we have in mind is, starting in September, during TriCon or whatever, Matthew Stapleford's coming down for that. He's going to stay an extended period of time to help us pull the membranes, inspect the membranes, and get us started on a repair campaign. So what we will do, we'll pull the membranes like we used to pick them, hang them up, clean them, go through everything, cut the damaged fibers out, and seal them, and then put them back in. So
because that's what I was gonna. I thought I heard somewhere along the line that it could be repaired.
yes, from what I understand, everything can be repaired. So at this point, so
But if you cut the membranes out and sealing it, that's what we did with the old membranes.
I believe when we used to pick them, we would cut the membranes off and like tie them in a knot.
Right.
But with the way they're damaged, you can't do that. It's all the way up to the plastic.
Right, but it's still.
Yeah.
pulling
So
you.
you would.
You're losing that many strands.
Yeah. I mean, in the grand scheme, it's not enough strands to affect treatment. So currently. So
Treatment, but what about future capacity?
I don't believe so. He doesn't believe so. So at this current stage, like I said, it's 20 membranes to 1,000. So, or 20 strands to 1,000, basically. So it's not anything major as of yet, but it's something that we need to monitor extremely closely. If our numbers change, then obviously our plan's going to change. Currently, like I said, we're monitoring the turbidity, we're monitoring our numbers, and then we'll inspect them throughout the summer just to make 100% sure. But as currently, we want to try and hold off until September, because the repair campaign is going to take about 4 months, about a month per train. So we pull them out, inspect the membranes, clean them, fix what needed to be fixed, and then put them back in.
This is not meant to be negative at all. What you're describing is a reactive to the damage that's already done. What's surprising to me is that all 4 trains would have experienced it. Does that mean, because you don't have 4 trains running especially at this time of the year. So there had to be something in the, coming out of into the forebay that would have been there for a long enough duration to be able to impact all 4 trains.
Originally, I thought it could potentially be when CES blew all of the pipelines out into Station 8, and it got into our system that way. And then when we turned on the mixers, it blew through. However, the timeline doesn't match up for that. When we look back at the report, we can put a definitive date on when it actually happened, on when the damage actually happened, when the turbidity slightly spiked on all 4 trains at the same time.
Huh.
And that date doesn't match up with when we turn on the mixers.
What date was that?
Jeff, do you remember off the top of your head? I'm sorry.
But were all 4 trains running?
Yeah, all 4 trains run all the time right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think we were running all 4 trains at once.
Yeah.
Because we're in off-season still.
But we're
No, but
taking
we're
lots of
still
flow
taking-
from county.
County.
We're
Yeah.
taking increased flows from the
Oh,
county.
that's right.
I believe we're doing about 1.1 to 1.2 a day. If you
Yeah.
look in the Veolia report, I believe it was 4th or 5th, you can see a spike in the turbidity in all 4 trains simultaneously, all within that same day.
The 4th and 5th of June.
May.
No, May.
May.
Of May.
Would it have anything to do with the new cleaning procedure?
No, I don't believe so.
What about the EQ tank problems? Does it correlate with that?
Initially, there was thoughts that when we tried to run the mixer, that could have been the issue. We ran the mixers on the 11th, 10th. The spike in turbidity was a week prior to that.
So it could have come through the county side then.
We're not sure, honestly.
I'm not implicating, I'm just saying. We're looking at our system and
The initial thought was that it could have, initially, we thought it could have been sand, very fine sand that actually wouldn't be stopped by the 2 mil stream. Because whatever it is came through. So that was the initial thought that could have been the case, which also explains the damage at the bottom and the top is where the fibers are the stiffest, so they don't have as much give. Where in the center of the membranes, they have more flex, so as it's coming through, it wouldn't resist as much and have the ability to strip the coating off.
I'm having trouble with that sand.
Well, that was when we thought it was at just the bottom. Once we realized that was at the top, that theory was kind of dismissed.
Yeah,
We
but
don't-
you have equal flux across the
Yeah.
whole membrane. And if it's sand abrasion, regardless of how much the fibers move.
Well, so initially we thought it was only at the bottom and it was going to be something heavy that settled. And then once we saw it at the top, that theory was kind of dismissed.
Okay, so.
I think we need some
okay.
more,
Some more forensics, huh?
yeah, I think, yeah.
Because we
Because-
don't want it to get worse. If there's
Well, we don't-
something we
yeah,
can
well,
prevent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really, I think the reactive portion is perfectly fine when you're suggesting, but I'm really not thrilled about the unknown and going forward.
Right.
So we had a conversation with Matt Stapleford, the membrane expert from Veolia. And initially Sharon had wanted us to have somebody come out immediately. Matt recommended against that. So we did put him in contact with Sharon, and after the discussion, it was decided that we were gonna monitor the situation. In September, when he comes out, because he's gonna be out here for the conference anyway, then he's gonna stay for the extended visit. I was also a little leery, and Sharon was concerned about this, and Matt seems supremely confident that it's nothing to be concerned about at this time, and we just need to monitor it and make sure that it doesn't get any worse.
Any chance it's some kind of change in the chemical makeup of the influent? Do we have any new businesses coming online or anything like that would dissolve the membrane?
There's that new slaughterhouse that they just opened up. That was a joke, bad joke.
Bad joke.
The only thing that would lead me to believe that's not the case is I would think that if it was a chemical, we would see it throughout everything, not just on those
The
outer
leading
edges
edge.
where it's hitting.
What has Matt, your guy who's in Bula Bula, what has he actually seen? A picture?
We sent him photos and we sent him, we had a conversation with him.
Okay, so he hasn't actually seen a really
In person?
good, yes.
No, he hasn't been on site.
Is there any mechanism to, I don't know, cut out a piece of the membrane or the the broken pieces that are not along in that membrane and send them to him so he sees, feels, or whatever to facilitate his seeing or thinking about, oh, I didn't recognize this portion.
Again, so when we had the conversations with him, we actually wanted him to come out and be on site, and that's when we
I
had those
understand
talks.
that, but
Yes.
is there something that you can send him more than photographs or a Zoom picture
I don't
that might be
believe,
helpful?
I don't believe there's anything we can send him that would change his mind now.
When Sharon and I had a follow-up conversation with Matt after they spoke to him, that was the same
Yep.
thing, that was our concern. And Matt said by looking at all the pictures that were submitted, he is confident. He said he doesn't have any worries as long as nothing changes, he said,
And I think-
in September.
And I think try to send him something, A, you're dealing with hazardous waste. B, the fibers would dry out, which is a no-no.
Yeah.
So you destroy any forensic unless you shipped it wet shipment.
Well, okay,
And
problem solved.
I mean, if we're talking, if Matt is that confident,
Okay.
you know, that
Never mind.
he is the expert, and he says he can wait until September and do Tricon.
We're gonna monitor it very close. Like, if we see any spike in turbidity, any weird numbers, the situation changes. But currently, everything is as it should be, aside from that tinge in the water that we see now that wasn't there before.
So you know, you drink the water out of the treatment plant, you're telling me.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would drink. Maybe for enough. $20. One shot though. One
I think
shot.
it's important to note that when we go to do that repair, we will have to reduce flow, so we may need to reach out to the county to let them know that
Yeah.
they're gonna have to reduce flow.
Which was another conversation we had, was that if we were to do this now during peak season, we wouldn't have to reduce flow from the county, we would have to turn it off.
For 4 months.
So that would be a conversation. Now, again, if the numbers start to decrease and we have problems,
We're
then
turning
we're
it
gonna
off.
have to do that.
Yeah, and
That's what
and
have to
the
happen.
county understands.
Yes.
Yeah, so we should probably contact the county and give them a heads up that in the September timeframe.
With the reduced flow of the off season, we should just be able to reduce the county to like our original agreement, which was like 150, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, we should be able to reduce it to that and be okay. My fear was, like I said, like doing it
During the summer months.
during the summer months. There's just too much flow.
Because I mean, our peak, as I remember, used to be like 1, 2.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
believe
that
we-
was before we.
I believe we discharged 1, 2 yesterday.
We're pretty constant, like 1, 2, 1, 3, sometimes 1,
Then now,
4.
keep in mind also that the county's flow doesn't reduce in the summer now.
No,
So we're taking it.
no, because they're pumping their lagoons to us.
Yeah.
So we're doing 1, 2, doing 1, 1 and, 1, 2, maybe 1, 3 occasionally. on
Actually,
almost
that's not
daily
true.
average.
They're not pumping from lagoons. It's coming from their system. Yeah.
It comes from 196, which I believe is
Yeah.
over in Lewes. It's essentially taking the flow from Lewes that
Yeah,
BPW doesn't.
Yeah, I misspoke there when I said it was coming from the lagoons. Okay. Thank you. We're moving on.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
On pump station 6, what is the intention of the work that's being done there?
I believe, and Sharon can correct me if I'm wrong, we're just doing the bypass. We're not going in. So I think they just want to go into the bypass and that's it. They don't.
At the moment,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Not doing the whole
we
upgrade.
will be, but right now we're doing the bypass out of pocket because we have funding to come later this year for the rest of the project, but we just want to make sure we have that bypass in place in case something should happen.
Thank you for asking that question.
So this is one probably coming from a senior citizen. Is there any way of increasing the font, or at least making it non-fuzzy on the bottom of the graphs?
Oh, yeah, right. I get my
I
magnifying
can
glass up.
try.
I could probably read the font if it wasn't blurred.
Tom, if he's called to order, he can zoom in.
Yeah,
And
I
you
can try
still
and,
get a fuzzy blur.
I can try and do that. So I use this, I don't know if you guys know what this, do you know what the snippet tool is?
Yeah,
Alright, so I use the snippet tool to pull this off of our documentation. So I can see if I can like finagle it and blow it up. It's gonna give us more pages, but like I can try that.
yeah, I mean, because you don't need the whole thing. It's just,
Yeah.
the graphs are fine. It's
It's the bottom, yeah.
Alright, yeah, I can play around with it and see what I can do.
back extrapolate from what I'm seeing in the graphs to what it says on the bottom.
Okay, despite Tom's eyes,
Mhm.
last month you were talking about cleaning the EQ tank.
Yes.
Yes.
Anything happen?
Yes, that has been done. It happened when I was on vacation last week. Jeff oversaw that with Nate.
Done.
Yeah,
Problem
it's
solved?
done. So the last time they did cleaning, they pulled out about 10,000 pounds of material. This time they put out 50,000 pounds.
Wow.
Okay.
So
needed to be done.
there was a substantial amount of material inside of the EQ tank.
Did we turn the mixers back on?
Yeah, everything's going good again. The mixers
Okay.
are back on. Everything's running as it should now.
Good.
So
We understand, was it a longer duration?
it was
Between
just so the mixers make it so it stirs up everything and helps the screens pull everything out. Without the mixers on, everything wasn't
this is
stirring
because
up.
the
It was
mixer-
just settling.
Okay,
Yes.
so the
So-
settling basins, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that is done. That was actually on my next next
Okay.
thing to bring up. But yes, mixers are back on. Everything's good with that now. Water looks much better. No smell. So, we're still dealing with some of the residue of that clean out. So we're still trying to get rid of some of the grit and stuff, but that we pulled out of the tank. But everything else is good.
So where did all that sludge go? That went to
They
the
pull. They. What did they take with them, Jeff? I'm sorry about this. I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Doesn't it go to the county?
So from the EQ tank
Yeah.
clean out?
Yeah.
So they removed the grit and then took it and disposed of it at the dump. So they disposed of that off-site. So we had the clean out done, everything was dewatered, and then they took the solids and disposed of it. With a small portion of it actually got dumped into the drying beds so that we could scrape it up after it dried out and dispose of it in the dumpster, because essentially it's just grit, sand, other solids.
Yeah, it's what goes into our dumpster normally.
Ah, okay.
I do have a little note too that some good news. Our 3 of our operators did upgrade their level wastewater license. Vince, Kurt, and Josh. Vince and Kurt moved to a level 3, and Josh moved to a level 2.
All right.
Yeah, we had 4 operators that took it. Our youngest one failed it by 1 point. He got a 74. It used to be if you showed your work, they would give you that extra point, but now everything's Scantron, and so they don't do that anymore. All right. As far as corrective maintenance stuff goes, we had some issues with the hosing for the Neo water pump. We replaced that.
What was the type of hosing that apparently was the wrong?
So originally what came with the pump was a small diameter hose, and for whatever reason, we're still not sure why, because we've sent the material data sheet to the company, and there's no reason why the hosing should be breaking. But for whatever reason, after about 2 to 3, 4 weeks of use, the hosing was cracking. We're not sure why, the hosing was cracking. So we changed the material of the hose, and upgraded to a dual hose instead of a single hose. So we have the pump turned down extremely low, where we were running it at 25% originally. Now we're running it at like 4. So, but it seems to have fixed the problem. So it seems to be running better with the dual hose with a different material now.
Different material.
Yeah, it's a different material and a larger diameter hose. So
Okay, and remind me again, what's the composition of Neo water? What's in it?
it's rare. It's non-hazardous rare minerals, but off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you. Do you know? Not off the top of our head. I'm sorry. I can send you guys over the data sheet if you would like.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I mean, you'd think the manufacturer would have sent you the right.
From what I was told, nothing in the Neo water should have affected the hosing, but for whatever reason it did. I don't know why. Nobody can tell me. So, but since we've changed out the material and upgraded to a larger diameter, the issue stopped. So.
And the hose, the pump housing and pump impeller?
Huh?
Yeah, were they affected?
Yeah, I'm just curious if the hose is the rest of the system.
So we did swap out the impeller too, as well actually. So when we swapped to the bigger diameter hose, we also swapped out the internals of the pump. So
was the impeller you took out to show any sign of degradation?
No, we put it on the shelf for a spare. Like I honestly don't think that was the issue. But again, I'm not 100%. We couldn't quite figure it out, so we just swapped materials and it stopped. So moving on. So we also adjusted the wear plate at pump station 4 and changed out the oil at those on both pumps. We rebuilt train 3 permeate pump and put it on the shelf as a spare, and we also swapped that pump out. So that's running well now. We pulled the recycle pump and had it rebuilt for our recycle wet well, which is on the backside of the maintenance office. It's basically where all the drains from the plant go to. So we had a pump we have two flight pumps that pull the water out of that. One of those went down, so we pulled it out. We sent it off for rebuild. When it came back from Hills, we put that back in.
That's stormwater?
It's not stormwater, but mostly it's treated water. It's the discharges hose and stuff from the membrane treatment, from the turbidity meters and stuff where the hoses discharge. A lot of that water goes to the drain and circles back around to the head of the plant.
Okay.
So it goes from the process building over to the wet well behind the maintenance office, and from that it goes back to the head of the plant to be retreated.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Then we also pulled pump 2 at station 2. There was a bad blockage that was completely full of grit. We pulled the pump. We were able to clear that blockage out.
Was it only grit?
It was only grit, all compacted, full of sand. It's one of the few times I've seen it here. I don't usually see just grit blocking something, but that specific time it did.
Yeah, because usually you have to have some type of fiber to
We didn't find
catch
anything but sand. It completely blocked the discharge of the pump. The impeller was clear, just the discharge was clogged. We think so. There's an internal check valve in that specific pump. We think it hit that check valve and just somehow over time it built up and stopped flow.
Matt, a question about the expenses then.
Okay.
Roto-rooter piping clogged at station number 8. Was that from a prior month? Because you don't have anything about clog piping in here.
Sorry, let me bring it up.
It was,
I'm looking. 1 second. I believe that was from a prior month, but I'm trying to find it now. What was the date on that?
that was,
Okay, I see it. 5/13.
5/13. Or was
Oh,
there
you
a
know what?
problem
That it's not Station 8 that happened.
Oh,
It's Station 1. That was the misprint.
okay.
Yeah, that was Station 1. And it happened in April. End of April.
Okay.
Yep. So that's all I have.
One item on the Veolia report,
Yes. Print it out.
it's the second page. They talk about May 11th, there was a performance step improvement on old trains
Mm-hmm.
where permeability is increased. What caused that, or why was that initiated?
I'm sorry. Say that again.
It said that,
I misprinting that report off.
so it says on May 11th, there was a performance step improvement on old trains where permanently increased by one gallon, 1 GFD per PSI on old production cycle parameters. TMP decreased at the time while the flux and flow rate remained steady.
Oh, I believe that's what he was talking about when he was saying the turbidity spiked. Like, no adjustments, no changes were made by us in the system itself. I believe that something going on with the system.
Oh. Because it says a performance step improvement.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I
For the
was
plus,
trying to make heads or tails out of that.
I'm not sure exactly what that is. No adjustments were made at that specific time, though. I have a strong suspicion that the TMP decrease. I have a strong suspicion what they're talking about is that turbidity spike that happened on all the trains. But I can look into that a little bit more and double check for you.
Yeah, if you would.
Yeah, I can look into that, Tom.
Right. Any other questions for Inframark?
Yes, I have a couple of questions on work orders.
Mhm.
On pump station activities.
Mhm.
Trying to get an understanding how much time converted to money does it take to go to a pump station in your regular checking each month sometimes?
So it
And
takes
make repairs sometimes you verify that this is okay, whatever. And particular, I guess on one page, there's like 16 pump stations were visited in the same day. And I can't imagine
those
would
are our
it-
monthly pump station checks.
how much
So-
time does it take?
So once a month, we spend approximately 2 to 3 days and go to each pump station and we dig into the pump station basically. We check all the floats. If there's any fog on the floats, they'll pull the floats. They'll clean the floats.
What's fog on the flows?
Fog would be fats, oils, and greases,
Oh, okay.
basically. If there's any fog on the floats, we clean those. We check all the electronics and make sure all the electronics are working properly. We also, like I said, in any float issues, that's usually when we find the float issues because they go through and they check all the floats. They'll pull the floats one at a time and make sure everything works in the cabinet as it should. They turn on each pump, first to hand, then to auto, and make sure all the pumps are working like they should. They'll listen and see if there's any weird sounds coming from the pumps. They'll watch the water level to make sure that the pumps are actually pumping down. That's actually how we found the clogged pump at Station 2 when we were doing pump station checks. The guys realized that while it sounded like it was running, the amps were just a little bit off, and the water level wasn't dropping. So, but we go through and basically at each pump station and check everything.
And how much time would that take
It usually takes about 2 to 3 days.
for each station?
No, for each station,
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing that amount of checking
it
and
varies.
verifying,
it varies per station.
couple hours?
Probably 20 to 30 minutes per station. It just depends on which station it is.
Is
Some
it-
stations take longer, some stations take more.
Is that
It's
one
an
person
E1 or
at a time or
versus
Two people.
two people?
So,
To bring up one point, with the days, the multiple days, or the multiple stations in one day, as Matt said, each station differs in time. But for
Yeah.
instance, Washington Street, which is listed as 2 stations, is essentially 2 separate E1 pumps at the same station. So when the operators are out checking these, I mean, some of them could be done in 20 minutes, and you technically are knocking out 2 stations within 20 minutes.
Right.
So that's why you could end up seeing 16 to 18 stations in one day, because
That's a good day.
yeah, it's a good day. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, thank you.
two questions on that, somewhat independently. The 1 month check,
Mm-hmm.
is that industry standard or for pump stations, best practice? Where does it come
That's
from?
something that was determined before we came, I believe. You have anyone answer that?
So that time frame differs from plant to plant. The monthly was what was established before we got here.
But based upon best practices from the industry, should that be reevaluated or?
It's something that we're currently looking into right now, yes.
Because I can see stations like E1s, probably versus pump station 4.8.
Well, so for instance, with pump stations 4 and 8, those are actually checked daily. We go every day to check those stations. But other stations like the E1s, I mean, are not as critical and tend to not have the same issues.
And when you check the pump stations, do you check point watch also?
Yes. Generally,
Yes. So that has been something we've been checking, but that's something that we're also increasing the checking on is point watch.
On stations 4 and 8, which are much more, I don't know, complex,
Yes.
those would take a longer period of time to do this complete checking that you do on a daily basis, or is it a different scope?
The check is not usually taking more, but the maintenance takes significantly longer when we have maintenance to do. So for a lot of the stations, if we have to change a pump, pull the pump, we drop in a new pump. It's not a extremely time intensive. Whereas the pumps at stations 4 and 8, as well as 3, if we have to do, those aren't pump replacements, it's pump rebuild. It's going to take more time to do.
Okay, thank you.
I have a couple more. Some of them got answered about the pump station 2, the grit blockage, because I was curious about why it was, 2 days apart. You had pump 1 not pumping, but why? We don't know why the grit was where it came from.
there was a lot of sand in the area, Barbara. Like
Yeah, that's pilot
over
down.
time, it builds up.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say to that. Like it, piping. We have issues with pipe. We have issues with sand in the piping. We have issues with sand in the pumps. It's just it varies from station to station and where it's located, but that's a constant issue that we deal with.
And then something I noticed this month that has been there all the time, but we've got 5 lift stations on Monroe Avenue. Wonder why.
Those are all E1s.
They're all E1s.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe those only handle 1 or 2 houses or businesses.
Okay, thanks. What else did I have? Oh, the printout of expenses, the tubing for blue-white pump, is that the Neo?
That's the Neo water, yes.
You called it the blue-white pump?
That, yeah, it's just the manufacturer.
Okay. I figured it probably was. And then a final question. When are we due to move chicken manure? How are we doing on that? Maybe is that a question for you, Rob?
It's like once a year.
It's just once a year?
Yes, we used to do
Because
it.
we're tracking.
Well, we had the offset before that we tracked monthly.
Yeah.
But now,
So that particular number, once we get closer to knowing the tons, then we'll make arrangements with Ellis and they'll start shipping out, but that's not until the first 45 days of the year. So between January 1st and February 15th, we have to ship that out.
Okay. Thanks.
Any other questions?
You have any information on the lottery numbers?
If I did, I would not be going to work tomorrow. Well, I'd still probably go to work. At least for a little bit.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Yes,
All right,
thank
thanks,
you.
Tom.
Longer
Thanks,
than
Barbara.
usual, but it was all good information.
Yeah,
All right, thank you guys.
thanks.
So, I'm gonna try to make the review of meetings and stuff like that much shorter. I don't think it's necessary, but the high level ones were, we did meet with the city and GMB about brick grants. I'll let Robin talk about the water tower, mayor and city council, and we had a discussion on the extension of the MOU. I would like to take at this time a moment to read a statement into the record and just for all of us to remember. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers that contribute their time and expertise to making BPW operate smoothly, increasing its productivity and staying at the forefront of climate change. The city has many committees also that keep it running, including Planning Commission, Bike and Ped, Finance, and so on. The community of Lewes has many great organizations, such as the Greater Lewes Foundation, Lewes in Bloom, and too many to enumerate. The contributions, these contribute to making Lewes a very special place, both for the residents and the visitors to our town. Lewes draws people far and near to its business, beauty, respect for its history, and preservation of nature. None of this happens by accident. Lewes is lucky to have people with a wealth of experience that are willing to give back and to make this place what it is. BPW has 2 main committees, Finance and Mitigation, and we want to say thank you for their service, for treating them with the respect that they deserve. And the only payback most of them get is that's the only payback most of them get, the satisfaction of their work and a thank you. If we do not treat them with respect, we'll alienate people from wanting to serve and we'll be worse off for that. So, just something to keep in mind as we go forward.
Question. Amy isn't online still. Do we know if she signed the extension for the MOU?
She was being driven over to her, or she was at the meeting, they'll do it at the Rollins Center.
it's my understanding it was dropped off to Ashley.
Yeah, I gave it to Ashley yesterday.
Okay, so then it will be signed in the coming days, hopefully today or tomorrow.
Because we're coming up to July 1st. Okay, thanks.
And if Ellen Lorraine, if you need, I will gladly go and take it to Amy's house. So. General Manager's report.
Okay, get your report in your packets, some of the department activities. Sharon and I met with Rick from AC Schulte's to discuss the alternate location of saltwater intrusion well. We had located two, and hopefully we found one that's already in place at the library property. Ben has found out some information about it, and it seems to be adequate for Denrec, but we're going to follow up with them to make sure. Met with a representative from Abbott Park about the draft development agreement for their potential project, which we're going to be reviewing later. Sharon and I and Eric completed a 2-day PFAS treatment training. Sharon participated in the BRIC funding discussions with GMB in the city. The electric, we had 8 after-hours calls last month. Water, we had 8 also. They're doing their normal repairs on the outside work and things like that. Office projects, finance has been working on the cost of service studies contracts with Waterworth and Reptelis, and Mike and Josh are trying to finalize the communication upgrades at the wastewater plant. As far as capital projects and development projects, elevated storage tank is running along smoothly. They're completing the painting. Sorry, I don't have any pictures, but everybody could probably see. We're working on getting conduit and electric and all that stuff in the future. We're still on for getting the completion done in September.
It looks like the entire outside of the tank is painted.
Yeah, I think they probably got it done by now.
Yeah.
He was hoping they would get it done by now. They're working on doing the inside sandblasting, things like that.
I don't know who chose the color, but it's perfect. It's gray blue. It doesn't stand out. And matter of fact, the other day it was foggy out, and it blended right in with the sky.
And we're way ahead of Milton. They haven't started painting there. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. Supposedly we had the A crew, so that's good. The Hornkill Water and Sewer Project, that we were, Teal's doing the job. Notice to proceed was granted on the 16th. Tentative start date is July 1st to start getting stuff together. So hopefully, not saying that they'll be out there digging holes on July 1st, but they'll be moving forwards. 4th Street, we're still moving forward with the 4th Street project. City had a little updated meeting on the streetscape design today. Hopefully that's all squared away and we continue to move with surveying and design and stuff like that.
Robin, is that all squared away, or is there more to be done on that?
Maybe I can let Lorraine, I know they had some conversations at the work session today about potentially doing some minor alterations to what was approved by mayor and council,
But none of it affects our infrastructure.
no, it doesn't affect where our structure is.
Does it affect our start date?
So today there was a discussion at the work session about some conversations that city staff have had with residents along West 4th Street only. Council is considering those changes and will make a final decision on July 13th at the regular meeting. There's not anticipated to be any delay in the project being bid out.
Thank you. Keep Scope project, winding down. We got a walkthrough tomorrow at 1 o'clock. There was some, Emmett was out there earlier today, noticed a couple things, so hopefully that project will be winding down and get the water turned on out there, and they'll have water and sewer connections to the mobile homes. Staffing, we had a longevity recognition. Jennifer Daly, she works in our finance department. She has 4 years service this month. as far as upcoming meetings, the finance meeting was held on the 22nd. I think the next one is August 3rd. Okay. July 4th holiday, of course, we're going to be closed, and along with the city offices closed on Friday, July 3rd. Our next regular meeting is Wednesday, July 22nd. And just to note, I will be attending the APA conference in Boston starting, I'll be out Friday and it'll be starting Saturday till next Wednesday.
I've got a contact for you if you want to go on one of the tours of a battery storage facility up there.
Okay. All right.
Some said.
Okay. And that's all I have.
All right, item 8, open forum general discussion on the Mitigation Committee. And since Press isn't here, I'm gonna let Robin and Sharon take it.
Well, as y'all know, last month, the board approved restating the Mitigation Committee, and Press had submitted a list of members that the board also approved. That was 7 members on the committee. Two board members, myself, 1 representative from that was appointed by the city council, and 3 general members. The deputy mayor was originally designated for that city representative. That was later changed to Tracy Hancock, but Press had put her in as one of our general members, so that left us an open position. After discussion, it was decided that Press was going to go ahead and nominate Sharon, since she was going to be there anyway, to be the one of the members on the committee. So I'll maybe let Mike say, is it okay, since Press is not here, to use that as a nomination and have the board approve Sharon as on the mitigation committee?
We still need a board member to move that. But so based on that, a board member can move and second it, and then it can be voted on.
Okay, no,
So moved. Put
Second.
Sharon on this.
on the vote? Aye.
Aye.
They had the first meeting yesterday. We kind of Press, what he wanted to do is just do an initial review of what was brought up before the mitigation committee before. Got a good members on the committee, so they're looking to move forwards. August
9th?
9th. I think this is going to be the next scheduled meeting.
Who is Tracy Hancock?
She's actually a member of the EERC committee from the city. She has held several positions. One of them was with the EPA.
So we don't have a city ex officio.
She's taking that role.
Does that work?
I don't know that it says that they have to be on the city council
No, it
to
doesn't.
be the ex officio, so I think so.
It just said the city needs to appoint some.
Yep.
Mike, that's okay? Okay.
Yes, it's basically the city just designates somebody, and so that's who they designate.
Where does she live? She lives in the city limits?
Schofield.
Is that an issue?
Oh,
Just so you know, the mayor is on and her hand is raised.
Amy is on? Oh, there she is. Good afternoon, Madam Mayor.
There, everybody. Sorry, I was just finishing a planning commission meeting. So just following up on what Mike said, we didn't see it that it had to be a council member. She is really qualified and a member of IRC. She lives outside the city limits. Very talented hydrologist, but lots of good technical background. So that's why we were recommending her.
Yeah, I mean, her bio sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
About, since she's supposed to be an ex officio with the city, is there an issue, Mike, with her not being a city resident?
No, it's just that the city council gets to designate a member, and so in their judgment, they can choose what those qualifications are, and they did.
Okay, nope, no problem.
Yeah, all it says in section 2 is a member selected by mayor and city council.
Okay.
And she was. We went through our MCC.
All right, then, moving on, oh, we voted on that, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on. Number 9, developers agreement with Abbott's Park.
All right, Abbott's Park is an existing 20-lot residential park located on Washington Avenue. They are looking to do some infrastructure upgrades to the water and sewer inside the park. That infrastructure is currently and will continue to be maintained and operated by the park itself. It's private infrastructure. Our infrastructure that's out on Washington Avenue needs to be upgraded and changed as part of the process. The water line is needed to get it upgraded. We currently have a 2-inch water line that goes into the park. They're finding out that one of the biggest things is due to the fire suppression requirements that the city put in place several years ago. The new homes that are being built in there are having to have pumps and bladder tanks and things to get the pressure for their fire suppression requirements. The homes are small enough in there, so taking up a big room in the homes itself makes it more difficult. So they're hopefully with increasing the size of the water main will take care of any kind of issues with it needing any booster pumps and things like that.
But it's only the T off of the main going down the street? Or do we have to upgrade Washington Avenue also?
No, just the T where it goes in. They're just gonna take the 2-inch out, and it's gonna be, I think it's designed to be a 6-inch. They're also gonna be putting a new fire hydrant at the entrance of that development. There's none there now. Also with the water and sewer, most of the water and sewer runs underneath the mobile homes there now. They're having issues on site with some of the ones up near the end. I think they've got a collapsed sewer line somewhere, so they're going to be doing that work. Since they're going to be replacing some of our infrastructure, development agreement is required to be put in place, so there's expectations on what needs to be done. GMB is going to be reviewing the plans along with staff, approving the plans, and then we'll be inspecting all the work out there on our infrastructure. So the recommendation is this is a standard form agreement that we usually have. The big changes to this is normally for larger developments, we require more deposit. We're only requiring a $10,000 deposit on this, as we did with the Kennedy property that was recently approved. So staff, once the plans are approved, we'll be filling out the dates and they're required in here on the plans, and the attorney's fees will be all added, signed, and then we can execute the plan.
So the only concerns I had, I talked to Sharon about, is in 1.2 and 2.10, it's covering water, sewer, and electric. So I know this is a blanket agreement that we use, but we already have an in place one for electric. And it seems like those two, the references in those two sections, electric should be stricken.
I think in one, it talks about services, and we do provide electric, water, and sewer services to them. So I think that's in general, that's why that's left in there. Because we do provide that service. And it's noted elsewhere, we're only doing upgrades to the water and sewer.
Somewhere in here, though, it talks about in general, in the whereas clauses, that we provide
It does, you are
all
correct.
the utilities. So it seems like the agreement is really for the water and the sewer. And Mike, I don't know, am I being too nitpicky on that?
Yeah, it's a fair question, but it's to Robin's point, it's that first section pertains to services, and what this provides is that the BPW will provide those services through infrastructure installed at the sole expense of the developer. So that is accurate. I think the big thing to emphasize here, which is the case, the BPW improvements, capital I, are defined to be the off-site improvements, not the internal improvements. So this agreement, when it is implementing BPW improvements, capital I, we're talking about the limited amount of off-site improvements. That's what this agreement covers. So you are providing services, all of that's accurate, but really the impetus and the main thrust of this agreement is the BPW capital I improvements, and that's the limiting factor of this agreement.
Yeah, and 1.2 was really kind of a nitpick, but the section 210 B, that one seems to be the residential electrical there seems to be more need to be stricken.
Yeah, and I flagged that one as well when I was looking through, Tom, but the effect of it, so when it says developer shall disconnect the property from its present water, sewer, and electric system, if any, prior to connecting to the BPW system capital S are those full services. So they don't have an existing system that isn't connected to the BPW system, which is why that doesn't get implemented. It doesn't fit neatly because, to Robin's point, this is our form agreement. The alternative approach here would be to craft an agreement specific for this purpose, which really, given the limited nature, didn't really make a lot of sense to spend that time and money. I think as long as the board understands that this is addressing BPW capital I improvements and those plans specifically, it does work as drafted.
Yeah, I was not reading 210B that way because it said they should disconnect from the present water, sewer, and electric, if any, prior to connecting to the BPW. So I wasn't reading that if you're already connected to the BPW, you don't have to disconnect.
And Tom, I think it's for the sake of that is the intention, and so for the sake of clarity, a recommended edit would just be to strike 2.10B and replace with reserved, and that's fine. Again, that's not the main thrust of this agreement. So if the will of the board be to strike 2.10B as drafted, that's perfectly fine.
I think that's good.
Yeah, I think cleaner down the line. I mean,
how much is this work worth? How much is it gonna cost?
I have no idea because it's on their.
No, but how much is our part of that?
I have no idea. It's, again, it's whatever their contractor, they got a contractor kind of lined up to do the work. I don't know if we have some
So
sort of.
it doesn't cost us anything?
No, don't cost us a dime. Nope. That's why it says that they're at their.
They're gonna have to open the road, they're gonna have to pull, tap into the line.
Correct.
Both for water and sewer.
Okay, so do you want to strike those two things? Where are they?
No, it's just the one thing,
just the one.
210B. Sign,
210B.
page 4. Yeah, I think for clarity, I would prefer it that way.
That's good.
And you are striking the words for the whole thing?
The whole thing.
So I'd make a motion to approve the Abbott Parks development agreement as proposed with the exception of eliminating 210B.
The language would be removed and just noted as reserved.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Open forum general discussion on a resolution accepting the Mitchell's Corner Phase A, 1A and 1B. It's easy for me to say.
New housing development just outside the city on Kings Highway across from the high school. As I noted, it's outside the city limits. We are only supplying water to this property. The county has the sewer. Some time ago, we had a struck agreement with Delaware Electric Co-op to relinquish the electric out there because of the lines in the how it was going through half the residential properties. So they're supplying all that. We have a letter, we did walkthrough inspections. Everything's up to snuff. We have a letter here from GMB saying we have all the necessary requirements to go ahead and accept the utilities. What we have now is a resolution to codify all that.
So do we have a motion to read by title only?
I make a motion that we read by title only.
Aye. Go forth, Mike.
And which resolution number is this?
Aye.
Yep, 005.
5. Resolution number 26-005, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Board of Public Works of the City of Lewes accepting the utility improvements for the Mitchell's Corner Development Phase 1A and 1B. Mr. President, members of the Board, resolution number 26-005 has been read by title only and placed before the Board for its consideration and adoption.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion that we approve the resolution as read by our council.
Second.
All in favor? The next one is we're striking from the agenda.
We technically, Tom, we need a motion to table.
Oh,
Make a motion that we table the proposed resolution for relative to Donovan Smith Mobile Home Park.
I'll second that.
favor?
Aye.
Open forum discussion on White's Pond Preserve to install a irrigation well. Robin?
Okay, this is a subdivision at the corner of Freeman Highway and Monroe Avenue Extended. Currently 13 new lots with one existing lot. There's a current home on the property that they're going to be adding into the sewer and water system. They're currently hooked to us now, but they're going to redirect it by when they put all the new water and sewer infrastructure in. The project is currently under construction. During one of our meetings, our progress meetings, we received a request from the developer asking to install 2 irrigation wells to irrigate the plantings and stuff in their common areas. They submitted the letter requesting a hardship for that request. They also submitted a map showing their irrigation areas. I'm assuming one of the wells will be near the entrance and one of them will be in the little roundabout area. As noted in our staff recommendation, our policy in the city code requires that every home within the city or every property within the city be hooked to our system. Honestly, we've had people ask before and it's normally been denied. We spoke with the developer originally and told them, no, our code doesn't allow this, and they wanted to have this presented to the board for their consideration. The request, staff recommendation is to deny request due to being consistent with our policies.
Yeah, and I think just as background, the only wells that are allowed within the city limits are geothermal,
Correct.
where you're either doing pump and dump or putting a heat exchanger in. It's not to remove water. So that's the history. This would be precedent setting.
Well,
If they haven't installed the infrastructure yet, why don't they put in a gray water system and use that for irrigation?
Gray water from where?
From the houses that will,
Showers and stuff.
their showers and their washing machines and dishwashers. That's what they do in Florida.
But if they're claiming this is
Well,
as a
how much money
hardship
are we
thing,
talking about here? 31,000 gallons. and a 4-inch pipe. I mean,
No, it's
that's
against
like
policy.
one house worth with 2 people for a year. And I'm looking at that's $30 a month or something. It's like $360. Is that ballpark anyway?
I didn't do the actual calculations.
Well, I'm just making it up,
yeah.
but it's not. I'm thinking of my own water bill, which let's say is 4,000 gallons. And once you're past ready to serve, that's like $10. Now, maybe this is a little more seasonal, so the 31,000 gallon one, I would say is not justified. And to Tom's point, I'm really not impressed at this point with the 98,000 gallons.
They could put in an irrigation meter,
And, well,
so
I
they
mean,
don't get charged for sewer.
I think
Yeah.
by voting no, we might save them money.
and I really have to question the $130,000 to irrigate unless you're putting in a tropical garden. That seems like a lot of work.
Well,
So anyway,
regardless, it's more a question of policy. They have to
Yeah,
connect to our
yeah.
system
and
for.
but the biggest thing is that there's no precedent for this. We've only allowed geothermal wells, and there's no reason to start now. So,
And the same with the city doesn't allow it.
what's that?
The city doesn't allow it either in their code. So, it's kind of a double no-no and a bad precedent.
Yes,
So what do we need to do?
just
We have the staff is recommending to reject, deny it. Do we have a motion to deny?
I'd make a motion to accept the staff recommendation and deny this request.
Second,
third.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Barbara, item 13, comprehensive plan.
Yes, because I sit as ex officio on the planning commission, I'm involved in the City of Lewes comprehensive plan process and have been assigned one of the chapters as lead. And there's another chapter that, first of all, does everybody understand the comprehensive plan issue? No, okay. So in the state of Delaware, every 10 years, cities have to look forward and plan how they're going to handle a whole bunch of topics like population growth, housing growth, boundaries, land use, zoning, community character, community development, affordable housing, open space, transportation, all kinds of stuff, infrastructure. And the idea being it's the city's or municipality's roadmap, municipality county roadmap for the next 10 years, and it has the force of law. So the city has hired a consulting firm, Michael Baker Incorporated, to draft the plan. The Planning Commission is taking the lead with Michael Baker Incorporated, and we'll be going through a series of meetings and surveys and to draft up the plan for the next 10 years. And new to this plan will be adding in resiliency and climate change. So it kind of fits in with what we've been thinking of anyway. So the Office of State Planning Coordination is the one that oversees this process. They will ultimately be approving the city's plan. And we also have to work with Sussex County on it and be aware of what other municipalities are doing. There will be probably 10 chapters in this plan, and it's got to be approved by the state by October of 2027. And the question is, how does the BPW want to help with this, support this initiative? I've already had discussions a few months back with Robin and Sharon about looking at the old comprehensive plan, the one from 2015. And what we saw was needed to be changed or had already been resolved and those sorts of things. But going forward, there are two areas that are definitely, BPW should be involved. One is resilience and climate change. The lead on that one is Rich Innes, who's the chair of the Planning Commission. And in particular, the topics of stormwater management, climate adaptation policy and resilience planning, and critical infrastructure are relevant for BPW. And then the one I'm supposed to lead is infrastructure and utilities. And there we've got topics such as stormwater, again, and drainage infrastructure, utility undergrounding, renewable energy integration, water supply resilience, and backup power and energy reliability. Another chapter that we're not specifically called out on, but I think we would want to have some input on, is the one on land use growth and annexation. So things like growth boundaries and phasing, climate-informed land use planning, and annexation strategy. I attached for you guys the checklist from the Office of State Planning Coordination. But on the back page, I've got the questions for BPW. How can we best contribute? Do you want to leave it to just BPW staff in coordination with me as lead? Do we want to form another ad hoc committee to work with me? Do we want to just consult with the board at all meetings? Do we want to do all these things, or do you guys have some other ideas?
One on annexation. We're already required to sign off on any annexation because of providing utility service. But if it's strategies for what areas the city wants to go after, I think that's the city's lead on that.
City's lead, but yes, all of these are city lead. It's just if we have any thoughts about, as it relates to, say, protection of our water supplies or that sort of thing, we should inform their decisions.
And one just clarification is, while the municipalities' comprehensive plans carry the weight of law, the county's plans, it's only the zoning map that does, unless that's changed at some point. But it used to be that the zoning map was all that was enforceable in the county, and everything else was just nice verbiage.
Amy's shaking her head, yes.
Yes.
Well, I think.
Amy, do you want to
Oh,
comment?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you, Robin, and thank you, Sharon, for seeing me. Yeah, that's my understanding as well. SB 23 and what was just passed is going to change, is a game changer here. And so by the way, I'm thinking about setting up a separate committee to look at how to implement the impact of that new law, which we probably should do jointly because it's going to impact you guys to some degree as well. But the way Barbara's describing, and Tom, what you just said is right. When you really look at a comp plan in the city, really legally, you're held to the zoning aspects. But we put a lot of emphasis when we look at any development and conditions related to the plan. The counties have been much broader and less enforceable. But I would also say, Barbara, just to add to it, and I've talked to Jane Grunbaum about this, when the county, what they're starting to get going on their comp plan, we should have a seat. Maybe it's not at the grown-up table, it's at the kids' table, but BPW and the city need a voice into that county plan as well. And it impacts you guys and us as well.
So you should probably wait until Richard gets back. Or,
Yeah, I wish press were here for this discussion because
I mean,
his work on the mitigation.
He has some ideas that he wanted to share. So yes, we
Okay.
talked about yesterday about including those design parameters that we use for like our pump stations. Maybe include those in the plan. Also about access to critical infrastructure and how we get to them, and things like that. So,
yeah, because we obviously
Wetlands.
any of our critical infrastructure we've already identified, and press is working on that. Now that leaves out the city's critical infrastructure,
Right.
which I'm not quite sure what all's there that would need to be included. Your EOC, and I don't even know what the elevation of the current facilities are, the Rollins Center or here.
well, I think we could get into the details a little bit later, but I think Barbara's asking for tonight, how do we want to get that information to Barbara?
So, I'm going to show first that Richard's back. So, you have any desires on which way to go?
Should we form an ad hoc committee for this? Should we?
But don't we already, I thought we already had an ad hoc committee.
For mitigation.
For mitigation.
This is for the city comprehensive plan.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Barbara, I mean, what's your druthers? I mean,
I would like to see the board a little more involved. I don't feel competent to just, do it myself. Because there are so many areas I know so little about, like electricity. Sharon and Robin have certainly been very helpful. So I would be comfortable if I just worked with them on it, but I think that, and then let the board know at meetings what's happening and what the issues are.
I was just one step further than that, is make it a standing item on the agenda to get feedback to you and for you to be able to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say that there's however many committees. There's 10 parts to this. Half of them probably involve us. I think, and committees don't move at,
Lightning
a
speed.
measured pace. I think you might be pointing Robin and Sharon at committees meetings ad nauseum that might not be all that productive or whatever. And I think probably some of us have to step in and do some of that, or go to some of those committee meetings, or maybe it's some of our staff beyond Robin and Sharon,
Well, I think
Brett or others.
You were asking about us forming an ad hoc committee to support you in this endeavor, because the city's already got a committee. So,
You got 10 committees.
so I think my suggestion, if she works with Rob and Sharon, and then in any area of expertise, like if you need anything on electrons or neutrons for the siting of a small modular reactor, you know, I'll be more than glad to chip in and help. I mean, I'm doing that with press right now on the mitigation side on the electric. So,
And Barbara has highlighted, you know, some areas that maybe, again, on your off time, you know, the board could, you know, come with some thoughts and come back to the meeting and kind of interject in the conversations that we have during the monthly meeting. Just to, and Barbara, myself, and Sharon can, and other staff if needed, can kind of coordinate some stuff, but also that gives you an opportunity to look over some of these things and provide input.
Here's another thought, because press isn't here.
you get volunteer press. Press is a
I'm
committee of
thinking-
one.
I'm thinking the resilience and climate change thing, where they're specifically identifying BPW as stakeholder, because he's working on the ERC and our mitigation committee. He would be perfect for this one, I think.
It's a good idea. That's a good idea, Barbara. If I can just can I just say something, Tom? Is that fine? So I think that one of the things we could do, Barbara, with the Planning Commission and Michael Baker, we could have a separate work session with the board, not your board meeting, but we could actually do a work session, and maybe we could do infrastructure and resiliency together, and take the benefit of everybody's expertise.
That's wonderful. That would be great.
Okay, I'll convey that to Rich Ennis as well, but I think that's the way we're going to get the richness of this talent on both those topics.
Good
Thanks,
thought.
Barbara.
Okay.
So we'll just work with you and then we will add that to the agenda just to do a recap.
Good. Thank you.
Yep.
And if anyone has any specific sections that they want to work on with Barbara, as long as we have less than 2,
Yeah.
We can pass them along to us, any thoughts or whatever,
Yeah.
too, as you normally do. And then we can,
Why less than 2?
that's
FOIA?
otherwise,
FOIA.
otherwise it's a quorum.
But that's the advantage of the work sessions that Amy suggested. Yeah.
Right. The work session is a public meeting. And so, you would do normal public involvement and public comment, but then we can have all of you there and everybody can feed in. And it might even start with what's the outline? What do you want on the old plan? What do you want to update? Give some thought. And then Barbara can get that and then we can come back in. So again, I think that would be appropriate to actually create a public work session.
This came at daylight and $1 short. I threw away my 2015 comp plan development from when there was
We still have copies for you. No worries.
my notes from when we developed it.
Oh, geez, the notes are invaluable.
I was doing my best to empty my file cabinets.
Okay, thank
All right.
you.
Does that work for you, Barbara?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, open forum, general discussion on the bylaws. So, and have questions, things they want to see changed?
Yes. There are a number of gremlins in the text. On page 2, for example, at the bottom, under administration, there should be a space between direction and in the next to the last sentence.
Oh, yeah.
Page 2?
Yeah. typos.
And
Oh, yeah.
on page 3, similar situation under section 3.2, kind of the third paragraph where under legal counsel's duty, the S and D should be separated. And general manager, further down the page, that of should be separated. And I can just give a copy to somebody rather than.
Yeah, that's fine. If that's
Yeah, it's
the-
just
the main-
typos.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we can do
Typos.
that. Yep.
Bob, you have anything?
No, I'm surprised that it is this brief and seems to work.
Well,
I have one additional genuine. On page 5, under vice president, number 2, notice to elect a new president. How does that happen? The president is whisked away by aliens. And now there's a
I'm
vacancy.
there.
Now there's a vacancy. And the vice president, there's now 4 big directors left. How do they elect a president?
the same way we do every year.
Okay, so now there's a president, there's still a vacancy.
Oh,
Now what happens?
Yeah,
okay, that's the one I have the question on,
yeah.
is item 9 above. In the event of a vacancy of a board of directors, the president shall appoint a qualified person subject to prior approval of the majority of mayor and city council. Why is it subject to mayor and city council?
I'm checking right now, but I believe it's a charter requirement. So
I think
your
so.
charter, your charter sets how you fill the vacancy on the board, and so you can't change that without changing the charter.
And that's what I was wondering, if it's in state law or charter.
It's the charter, section 2.2.5. In the event of a vacancy in the office of a director of the board, the president of the board shall appoint a person holding the same qualifications to fill such vacancy until the next annual election. Prior approval of such appointment shall be by a majority of the mayor and city council.
Maybe that's something to add to our MOU discussions. I don't understand why we're 2 separate bodies, why.
Yeah.
So I think we should add it to the MOU. And then I'm also starting a list of proposed charter changes. There's some archaic stuff. So I'm just speaking as one person, but on council. But we might want to start looking at those too. But the MOU is a good place to do it as well.
Well, it still requires to go back and change the charter.
Absolutely. Right.
We-
Right.
We want an agreement to do that. Unless you want to sue us, that is.
No, I just signed something that said I can't for a while.
Thank you.
That was all a joke.
Yeah, it is a little awkward considering that city council doesn't have to come to us if they have a vacancy, right?
That's the beauty of the system.
That's the archaicness portion, right, Amy?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
At least it doesn't say we have to get permission by the king. So,
And
Mike,
this
do we
was-
need
action-
an approval?
Yep.
yeah, just say,
No.
with,
You do if you are making changes. So Richard's typos can be made without a vote. That's fine. But there were no other substantive changes that I made note of, and so beyond that, no actions needed.
okay,
It was very timely because I read this and then realized I had to get the stuff about the comp plan to, to the board members at least 2 days before our board meeting.
All right. Request for agenda items. So we're going to put a standing item on the agenda for comprehensive plan.
Yep.
Anything else? Obviously, we have till 7 days before the next meeting.
I'd like to know at a future meeting how we're gonna cost justify AMI.
Oh, we have to have numbers from AMI before we can do that.
Well, we would have to know, I mean, we're about to spend $2 million, so it's coming at us. 1.7 actually. And, you know, there's some level of data gathering we do now or whatever, and there'll be some different number in the future, labor reduction maybe, I don't know. But I'd like to know what the dimensions are of the problem, because $2 million in
that's fine.
capital is a lot of money.
Remember, there's other overlaying information or overlaying rules. The transmission companies are starting to go to time of day usage. And if we don't have AMI, we're not going to be able to incentivize our customers or pass that along.
I think I understand that, Tom.
But I mean-
I think I'd like to know what the numbers are.
Okay, yeah, but these numbers are intangible. They're for future proofing.
3 years, 5 years, 10 years,
For,
paying out.
well, we will see. As soon as we get the numbers back of what it's actually gonna cost us, then we can kind of do an analysis.
Yeah, but we have to list all the intangibles
Yep.
that we can't quantify now.
Yep.
Intangibles need to turn into tangibles.
They can't until we know what the, okay, put it along.
That's why I want to talk about it.
Okay. Call to the public. Call to the press. And Bill's not online. We don't need an executive session.
We have 2 sets of minutes if we want to do it. If not, we can wait.
Oh, we have to get Mike back. Oh, we can do time Mike in by phone.
We can.
Okay. All right. So the motion to move into executive session.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Goodbye, folks.